recover. And as governor, my primary objective is to get relief to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. And that means turning on every spigot of local, state, and federal funding, along with private businesses and nonprofit, to help people now. This is a tremendous challenge, but we've made a lot of progress. We're down to about 14,000 without power when we started at 1 million right after the storm. We've returned cell phone coverage to most areas. There's some areas that aren't quite where they should be. Individual assistance, people are signing up. There's about $100 million that's already gone to people. So progress is being made, roads are being repaired, but we still have a long way to go. And when you all go away, when the cameras go away and attention is diverted, our mission is going to still be making sure that North Carolina recovers fully and completely, because Western North Carolina is too important to this state. It's too beautiful. Its tourism economy is important to the economy of North Carolina, and we want to do everything we can to make sure it recovers. I'll let Administrator Criswell say a word or two, and then we'll answer questions.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add that this Disaster Recovery Center is one of 5 that are currently in Western North Carolina. We will continue to open up more, and as the governor said, it's an opportunity to have state agencies and federal agencies in one location, because we know people have a lot of need right now. And so this helps us. If there's a program that we can't cover, we can connect them with maybe the appropriate state agency or the non-governmental organization. I mean, really just trying to create a central location where these families that have lost so much can hopefully begin that rebuilding process for them and their families.
I have with me our Secretary of Department of Public Safety, Eddie Buffalo, our Secretary of Department of Transportation, Joey Hopkins, and the head of the governor's Western office, Drew Christie, who are all here. We're working to help make sure that Western North Carolina recovers. We'd be glad to answer questions.
We're going to start right here.
Hi, Governor Cooper, Peyton Furtado, WIFF News in Greenville, South Carolina. We've been hearing a lot about some of these threats to FEMA workers throughout Western North Carolina. A lot of misinformation goes hand in hand with that. Anything you'd like to say about that in regards to those threats, or to the FEMA workers who are working on the ground trying to help people?
This misinformation needs to stop. It's hurting the very people that we all want to help. It's sowing seeds of confusion. It makes some people intimidated to apply for assistance that they desperately need. It hurts the morale of responders and people who have lost everything. So it needs to stop. We do know that there is a bad environment out there, particularly on social media. FEMA has borne the brunt of it, but others have as well. I've directed our Secretary of Department of Public Safety to make sure that law enforcement is working closely with all of our workers, including FEMA workers, to make sure that they provide any assistance or needed protection to them, because FEMA is going door to door and canvassing people, making sure that they know that help is available. So local law enforcement and trusted community leaders are now working with all of those workers to make sure that there's a layer of assistance and protection that they might need.
NBC.
Hi, Kathy Park with NBC News. Would you say the misinformation has set back the recovery efforts in any way?
No, it hasn't, because of the perseverance of the workers on the ground, the volunteers, and the people themselves. It's provided obstacles for them to hurdle, but they have done so. In talking with the administrator today, I'll let her speak for herself, but she says her workers want to be out there and want to be in the field. There was just a brief time over the weekend where there was concern, but they are at it in full force, along with all of the other people who are working to provide help. I do think that we should all try and come together to stop this. I think people who are using people's misery for political purposes are causing problems that could hinder recovery. But I think the people here and those are on the ground, we don't want to let that happen, and we're not going to let that happen.
Yeah, one more.
There are so many people who are so barely getting by. What are you telling them weeks into this disaster?
That we are working to try and draw down every avenue of local, state, and federal support, along with nonprofit and private support to help them. This is an unprecedented event in North Carolina. I think it can safely be described as the worst storm in North Carolina history. The way that it has hit such a wide area in western North Carolina, where the topography is rugged and challenging anyway, and to be able to get help to people has been a challenge. But we are working to get them the assistance, and we want to be there for them.
Citizen Times.
What Governor Kara Bonner, I'm with the USA Today Network. What's the timeline on getting power back to the 14,000 who are still without power?
So it varies by community. We're continuing to stay in close contact with Duke Energy and the local co-ops that are involved here. Our Department of Transportation works closely with them in helping to clear roadways. Our military has been involved in that as well, to try to get into these communities. I think it would depend on what community it is and what electric service that they have, but this has been a priority. We know that it is. In some of these places, the grid has been completely wiped out. So they're really starting from scratch in trying to rebuild the grid and get electricity back to people. But going from 1 million to where we were around 14,000, that's progress. But these last mile places are going to be tougher. So utilities say we're trying to help them as much as we possibly can. I don't know if you all want to add any of that. Secretary Hopkins.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Joey Hopkins, North Carolina DOT. We've been coordinating with Duke Energy since early parts of this storm. Our folks and their folks are coordinating on a regular basis, multiple times a day, where there's limited access or no access to these communities, and we're trying to help them get their crews in where they can repair their infrastructure, and we're having to rebuild roads or provide alternate means of access so they can do that.
Last question, Blue Ridge Public Radio.
Hi, Governor. This is one of the only comfort centers in Asheville. Obviously, it's a population hub in this part of the state. Have there been any delays in the state in kind of getting the county showers, toilets, those things that they need?
I know that we are working to get that, all of that, to places that need them. I don't know, Secretary Buffalo, do you have any information on that particularly? Secretary Buffalo.
Thanks for the
Secretary
question.
Buffalo.
Eddie Buffalo, Department of Public Safety. Sure, we're working with the county EOC to establish those shower points and that particular base camp for our residents to ensure that they meet those necessary basic needs.
Do you guys have enough, or has there been delays? Or
We're basing on the population need and reviewing that data each and every day.
Thanks, y'all. See you at Swan and Noah.
Thanks, everybody.